Hey guys, I am honestly truly sorry about how long it has been since my last video. Unfortunately, there have been a lot of things going on in my personal life over the past 2 months, and I've had to put my life outside of the channel ahead of this for the time being, or for the past 2 months. Anyway, you get what I mean. But yeah, I mean, it has honestly been really, really frustrating for me. I'm trying to finish up a whole bunch of stuff right now, and I'm trying to work 2 jobs on top of that, and it has honestly been a really, really stressful past couple of months. And guys, I can't even begin to tell you how sorry I am for the fact that it has been over 2 months since my last video, but you know what, guys? Unfortunately, I've had to put my life outside of the channel ahead of this for the time being, and I'm going to do my best to get the rest of this series done about my thoughts on all of the new home and away Adidas jerseys for the 2017-18 season as soon as I can, but I can't guarantee I'll be able to get it done right away, but I'm going to do my absolute best, though, to get the rest of this series done as soon as I can. So anyways, with that in mind, so the next division for me to talk about is the Central Division. However, I have decided to split it into 2 videos, and this will be the first part of the Central Division. Now, the reason for this is because not only did we get new uniforms from the Nashville Predators, but we also got them from Colorado. We also got a brand new home jersey from Minnesota, plus we got a slightly updated St. Louis Blues home jersey because they changed the color of the numbers. Now, in my last video about the Atlantic Division, I believe it was the Atlantic Division. I think I'm right when I say that. It could be wrong. But that's how long it's been since my last video. Sorry about that. But when you look at the Eastern Conference, not too many teams made drastic changes, where if you look at the West, you can see Nashville, Colorado, Minnesota, and Edmonton all right away with major changes. The Sharks made some changes to their shoulder logos, and Calgary slightly upgraded their jerseys. And obviously, we've got the elephant in the room, the Vegas Golden Knights, because they're the new guys on the block this year, eh? So they are one team that I definitely want to talk about once I get to them. Well, hopefully sooner rather than later. But anyways, but yeah, I mean, when you look at both of the Eastern Conference divisions, most of the teams stayed relatively the same. They didn't really change much, if they changed anything at all. Where the Central Division, we've got 3 teams that made drastic changes, whether it was to just one jersey like Minnesota or to both jerseys like the Avalanche and the Predators as well. So that's why I've decided to make the call to split the Central Division here into 2 videos. So let's start. Well, before I start with the Central Division, since it has been so long since my last video, let's do a quick recap just to get caught up on everything. So, to talk about the Montreal Canadiens, their jerseys are still as great as ever. However, I think the old wool-style lace-up collars that they had last year were far better than the new Adidas ones, and that's something that's really disappointed me about Montreal, even though it wasn't their fault for the change. And this is one thing I hate about the Adizero template, is these new collars. Now, Ottawa's only change for this year was taking their jerseys and adding and switching out their old font for the Heritage Classic or Heritage 3rd jersey number and letter font on the red and white jerseys, because according to what I've heard, they did not have enough time to do a full rebrand to the O, which is why you see the O from their 3rd jersey from last year as the logo the logo on their center ice in Ottawa, because they're currently phasing out the current Roman Centurion look for the Heritage look. However, I think that when they do bring it out next off season, it's probably going to be black, red, and white instead of black, red, and beige, which I can appreciate why, but truth is I wouldn't mind seeing a vintage white alternate if they're going the heritage route anyway. Now with the Florida Panthers, unfortunately the only change was their decision to make their front crest a little bit bigger. And that they've left the numbers on the shoulders. I wish they would move them to the arms and put the logo on the arms back on the shoulders where I at least think it should be. Toronto obviously didn't change, and Tampa still looks far too much like Toronto. But as I say that, they took the word mark off of their away jersey logo, and now it's just a reverse of their home jersey logo. And as far as I'm concerned, it looks much better. But if they would just leave this jersey alone and make it black, I think it would be amazing. All they have to do is make their jerseys exactly the same, but switch the royal blue for black. If they did that, I think their jerseys would be actually really quite good. And if they added a lace-up collar again, I would love to see that too for both jerseys, believe it or not. Now, as for the Bruins, they slightly updated their number and letter font. I think their new letter font is definitely better, but for the number font, I mean, it still looks quite good. I like that they did get rid of the outline, the black trim on the gold numbers, and the white trim on the black numbers on their away uniforms. However, the numbers no longer match the striping of the uniforms, and that's something I didn't really realize until I've seen their uniforms a few times this season. And you know, I think their new number and letter font is good, but I honestly wonder if maybe the old font was a little bit better. I'm kind of torn, to be honest. But the one thing that I'm really disappointed about with Boston is the decision to get rid of their gold socks for the for black ones. And they still look good in black socks, but I think it should be more around something that they should only do like what the Predators did a few years back when they decided to wear their gold helmets on Saturday home games. Like if Boston wanted to, say, wear the black socks with their home uniform on Sunday home games or something, I would be all for that, but it's just not the same. The Bruins should always be in gold socks. Even if they wore black socks once a week or for just a third jersey like they did last year with their Winter Classic third jersey, which was actually a great third jersey. And of course their longtime third jersey from the 08-09 season until a couple seasons ago. I mean, those two uniforms had black socks. Like if they want to wear black socks with a uniform, wear it with an alternate uniform. I mean, if they want to wear it once a week or something for Sunday home games with their home uniform too, I would be okay with that, but the Boston Bruins just don't look right without the gold socks at home. They need to bring them back. Now, as for the Sabres, they've really cleaned up their home and away jerseys, but I wish they would do two things. Number one, just get rid of the front numbers altogether, and number two, just go back to the original jerseys. Those were amazing. And as for the Adidas Adizero collars, like I know I've said this in my past two videos, but the Adizero collars, I hate them. Like, look at this collar insert and the 3 sets of lacing. Like, it looks terrible. That collar insert just sticks out like a sore thumb, and it just looks terrible. Like, I wish Adidas would just find a way to bring back the Reebok collars, because if they did that, holy crap. That would be so much better. And as for the New Jersey Devils, their home and away jerseys, they took 2 of the best jerseys in the entire league and just trashed them. These now look like overglorified fashion shirts, and they just don't look the same. They're nowhere near as good as what they've had for years, for 25 years, and it's just stupid. Like, this is just a change for the sake of change, and I'm completely scratching my head right now. And as somebody who thought the Devils had one of the nicest looking sets of jerseys in the entire NHL, the Devils made an absolute massive mistake, and hopefully they will go back to their now retired look that they've had for the past 25 years as soon as possible, because I'm sorry, their new home and away jerseys are crap. I think they absolutely suck. As far as I'm concerned, I think they suck. I think they're a joke, to be honest with you guys. Now, as for the Islanders, they did make a small change. They did add a royal blue outline around their away jersey crest. And personally, I think they did the right thing doing that. It looks better in my opinion. And as for these Adidas collars, once again, the Islanders collar just looks horrible. Like, if they would just fix it, they would take a great jersey and make it even better. I mean, the jersey's still great, but that collar really does take a lot away from it, in my personal opinion. Now, as for the Capitals, they've left their look alone, but I wish they would have just gone back to the retros full time, or at least done something with this, because if you look at this, before the piping would have gone along the arm, but now it comes to a grinding halt and goes along right directly straight across the chest because of the new Adi Zero template. And I wish Adidas would fix that too. Like, that's one thing I hate about the Capitals, the Blue Jackets, and the Los Angeles Kings uniforms since Adidas has started making the jerseys. Now, as for the Rangers, I hate that red collar insert on their amazing home jersey. It just sticks out like a sore thumb, and it just does not look good. I wish the Rangers would get an opportunity to fix that, because the jersey's great. It's just the collar insert just sticks out so bad. You can even see it on my phone camera. That's a bad sign. And of course, with Columbus, they heavily upgraded their home jersey. But I still think they should have switched to their black third jersey full time, because I still think that's the best jersey Carolina has ever had. And as for the Hurricane squares, I do tip my hat to the Hurricanes for bringing them back on their home jersey. But if you're going to put the faded Hurricane squares on your home jersey, they should have done it to their away jersey as well. And I think that's a huge head scratcher in my opinion as to why Carolina added the Hurricane squares on their home jersey but never did it for their away jersey. I mean, their away jersey is still a nice jersey, but I think both jerseys should have the Hurricane stripes. I really do, and that's one thing that I'm disappointed with about the Hurricanes' decision making this offseason, because if you look at their home jersey, this is so much better than what they've had for the past few years. Massive upgrade. But I just wish they would have taken their away jersey and just made the Hurricane squares go on the waist of that jersey as well. Or sorry, put the Hurricane squares on the waist, on the main red waist stripe of their away jersey. If they would have done that, this would have been an even better upgrade. But still, much better nonetheless. And finally, with Columbus, because Pittsburgh left their uniforms alone except for the collars, which I don't like anywhere near as much as the Reebok ones. Columbus got a new number and letter font, and to be honest, I just don't like it anywhere near as much as I liked the old number and letter font. I honestly felt they were better. And also, I felt that the old socks were much better too. Like, the new socks now match the piping of the jerseys, which makes sense, but it just doesn't look as good because their home jersey socks are now basically just solid navy blue, except for a couple pairs of thin stripes. That's it. Where before they had a lot of white and red on them to add some color to a relatively dark uniform. And same with their away jersey. Like, I think they need to bring back their mismatched Reebok socks because those added a lot of color and contrast to a very, very simple pair of uniforms, especially their navy blue home jersey. So I kind of felt that Columbus did get a bit of a downgrade, and most people I think are going to disagree with me on that one, and that's okay. But I think Columbus needs to at least fix the socks because those added a lot of color before. And their new font, I think their old one is actually better. But that's probably just my opinion compared to most people. I think I'm in the minority on that opinion. But anyways, you guys, it's time for me to finally start talking about the Central Division. So I'm going to talk about 4 of the teams in this video. And then I will talk about the final 3 in the next video, okay? So let's start with the St. Louis Blues. So here's the problem with the Blues. So first off, their away jersey was left completely untouched. Sorry guys, I just needed to have a quick sip of water. So with the St. Louis Blues, their away jersey was completely unchanged. And they've got a new hanger effect on the inside of their collars on both jerseys that is basically, I think it's the flag, the city of St. Louis flag. And personally, I thought it was a good move to do that and to put that on the inside of the collar. I'm actually a fan of that move on the Blues part. Now, the one change the Blues did make is the fact that they've subbed out their gold numbers on their home jersey for white ones. And I think this is yet another example of change for the sake of change, just like the Boston Bruins with their Black Sox this season. I think this was a horrible idea. The numbers still look good, but they're not great anymore. And the truth is, besides the Blues' most recent navy blue third jersey, which was actually a really nice third jersey, the Blues have always had their main blue jersey with gold numbers since 1967. Ever since 67, they've always had gold and yellow numbers on their main blue jersey. And after all these years, they've decided to change it just because Adidas has come in. And personally, white numbers with gold trim or golden yellow trim is nowhere near as good as golden yellow numbers with white trim. The old numbers, in my opinion, were so much better. They added a whole lot of real nice color to this uniform. And this is one complaint that I've always had about the Blues home jersey is that, or of this current look that they've basically had since the early 2000s. But the Blues home jersey has so much navy blue on it. And although I think the current version of this uniform, besides the white numbers, is the best they've ever had, ever since they've switched back to it a few years ago, they took the original and added a lot more color to it with the gold, which I think this is the best version of it they've ever had. And this is going back to the few years they wore this uniform back during the Reebok days. But the thing is, the gold numbers added a lot of color to this, and now they're gone. And it's just not the same. The white numbers, in my opinion, are nowhere near as good as the gold and yellow ones, and I'm really disappointed that the Blues made this random change. And personally, I think it was a stupid decision. I really do. I wish they would go back to the gold numbers. The sooner, the better. So now the next team on my list is the Winnipeg Jets. And for a team that only had a few months to come up with a pair of new uniforms shortly after they bought the Atlanta Thrashers and decided to move the Thrashers to Winnipeg, the Jets have done, in my opinion, a real good job with these uniforms. I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing the navy blue on the top of this jersey along the arms get cut off and only have a navy blue squared off shoulder yoke with the same striping. But you know what? This is still a relatively decent uniform. And as for their home jersey, for a very modern looking uniform, it's got a very traditional and very nice striping pattern on it as well. And you know what? It's a great thing, in my opinion, that the Jets never changed these uniforms, because I think they're really good. For modern uniforms, they did a great job with them. However, for myself though, I would get rid of these any day for the Heritage Classic jerseys from last year. Now, those were spectacular, in my opinion. And if they can at least make them a third jersey next year, I would be a huge fan of that. But there's only one issue that I have with the Winnipeg Jets Addy Zero jerseys. Now, the away jersey collar, in my opinion, is perfectly fine. They did a great job. They did a great job with it. But for their home jersey, look at that gray collar insert. It sticks out like a sore thumb, and it looks awful. It genuinely looks awful, in my opinion. And it just sticks out so bad. And in this case, they should have almost just made the collar insert navy blue. Like, yeah, they wouldn't have that gray on the collar anymore, but who cares? In this case, who cares? The new collar, you don't have a nice V-neck style like Reebok had before. You've got these new crew neck collars that are big and fat. And you know what? If they would have just made the collar insert navy blue on this, it would have been so much better. I mean, the jersey's still really nice, in my opinion. For a modern look, they did a great job with it. But that silver gray collar insert just sticks out way too much. And that's one thing that you're going to find watching this series of mine, is that I'm going to complain a lot about the collars because they just look terrible in my opinion. And the next team I'm about to talk about is an even worse example of the Adi Zero collars gone wild. I'm going to call it collars gone wild. Now, in this case, this example, in my opinion, is even worse than this one with the Winnipeg Jets home jersey. The Chicago Blackhawks. So, let me ask you this. And sorry if I sound like I'm taking cues from Dora the Explorer, asking you, the audience, stuff. All right? But here's the thing. Do these not look like dress shirt collars to you? They sure as hell look like dress shirt or polo shirt collars to me. And you look at that Reebok collar right there, and then you look at this crew neck collar here. Like, God damn it. Like, Jesus Christ. Who thought this was a good idea for a collar? It looks horrible. Like, Chicago's collar insert should have been at least white to make up for this awful look. And in their away jerseys case, make it red. Because these look like dress shirt collars. They look terrible. They've taken a pair of awesome jerseys, classic jerseys, and the collars just ruin them, just really do ruin them for me. I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't want people thinking that I think their jerseys now suck. That's not it at all. And Chicago's red jersey is actually my absolute favorite jersey of all time. And it isn't the jerseys that are the problem. It's just the collars. I just think that they take away from a pair of absolutely awesome classic jerseys. That's all. I should have worded it that way the first time, but I didn't. But the jerseys, everything below the collar looks as fantastic as they always do. Always have and always will. But the thing is, these new collars are just horrible, and the Chicago Blackhawks are a huge victim of these ugly Adi Zero collars. And yes, I think they are ugly. I think they are terrible. And I don't understand why they couldn't have found a way to come up with the new Adi Zero uniform template with the old Reebok V-neck style collars. I'm sure there's a way to do it. Of course there's a way to do it. But anyways, even though the Blackhawks' new collars look absolutely atrocious in my opinion, the rest of the jerseys are as fantastic as ever. So now I've covered the Blues, I've covered the Jets, and I've covered the Blackhawks. Now the next team to talk about, the next team that I'm going to talk about is a team that did get a new uniform, and that is the Minnesota Wild. So you already know about this jersey. So let's go on to their new home jersey. So I want to quickly show you the shoulder patch. It's now basically the M from their third jersey from last year, where it said Minnesota Wild on the front of it. It was just a script. And the script wasn't bad, but the jersey was not a great jersey in my opinion. The phantom shoulder yoke piping on the top, just having the word mark instead of the logo and being just green and beige. And I'm glad that they got rid of it for this. So this, in my opinion, is definitely better than the home and away jerseys that they've had for the past, I don't know, 8 to 10 years. So I'm very happy that the Minnesota Wild have finally got a new home jersey. But before I get to their new home jersey, I want to talk a little bit more about the away jersey. So The away jersey is actually one of the nicest away jerseys in the NHL. I think it's also one of the most underrated ones too, because it's got a very nice balance of white and forest green, plus it has the red numbers with green trim, and honestly, I have been a huge fan of this jersey since the day the Wild brought it out. But one thing that I've hated about the Minnesota Wild in recent years is that even during the Reebok era, they had their laces done up in a mock tie-down style, very similar to the Stadium Series jerseys from the 2013-14 season from teams such as the Islanders and, of course, the New York Rangers, But the thing is, with the Minnesota Wild's three sets of lacing, Adidas said, hey, if everybody's going to have a fit with us putting the 3 stripes on the sides of every jersey in the NHL, let's take the Minnesota Wild's idea and incorporate mock tie-down lacing with 3 sets of lacing for the teams like Minnesota, the Ducks, the Coyotes, and I'm trying to think of another one off the top of my head. And like the Wild, the Ducks, the Coyotes, and who else? I want to think of one more. And of course, the Buffalo Sabres as well. That was the other one. So, and the Jets too. I forgot all about them too. Because their lacing, I didn't even notice it until now, to be honest. My bad. But the thing is, and Calgary as well, sorry. And the thing is, the Wild were supposedly, from what I heard, the inspiration for the 3 sets of lacing, or the Adidas 3 stripes, or as I like to call them, the Adidas 3 laces. I mean, I'd rather have the Adidas 3 laces as seen here than 3 stripes on the sides of every jersey like last year's World Cup of hockey. But I still don't like it. I still think a jersey as traditional as this should have a proper lace-up collar, not this modernized mock tie-down crap. And another thing about the Minnesota Wild, their new shoulder patch logo is, in my opinion, not a bad logo. It's not the greatest, but it's definitely better than just their front crest logo inside a roundel on the shoulders. So I don't know why they didn't take their main logo out of the roundel and switched it for the M with the stars on it that's now on the shoulders of their new green jersey. Like, if they would have done that, I think that would have been a really good little minor change to their away jersey, which is, in my opinion, a really decent jersey. But now let's actually go finally into their new home jersey. Now, the first thing I want to say is I am so happy to finally see the Wild with a forest green home jersey again, with their logo of a silhouette of a bear head on the front of their jersey again. It's about damn time, Minnesota. Thank you. However, I do honestly believe that this jersey could have been better. I mean, the collar insert, I like the red on the collar, but these new Addy Zero collars and the new shiny Chromoflex NHL shields on the front of every jersey collar now drive me crazy. They just don't look good to me whatsoever. Now, the Minnesota Wild's new home jersey is definitely an upgrade, and I want to make that clear. I think the Wild's new home jersey is definitely an upgrade over the home and It's definitely better than the home and third jerseys that the Wild have had for many years now, and I'm glad those are gone for this. I'll take this over those any day. But I do have some issues with this new jersey. First off, their away jersey here is dark green and white in the middle. This is beige, red, and beige. So on top of that, the home jersey has a chest stripe that goes halfway around the jersey, just like the Florida Panthers' new uniforms, which is a huge pet peeve of mine regarding their new uniforms. And it's also a pet peeve I had with Canada's 2014 Sochi Winter Olympic jerseys as well. And let me tell you, I'm getting tired of this half chest stripe business. I mean, in this case, it looks okay, but if you're going to make it go halfway around, it should go all the way around, in my personal opinion. But now also, I mean, here's another nitpick of mine. The numbers on the arms are just beige, while the numbers on the back are beige with a real nice red trim to them. Why didn't they do that to the arms as well? That would have been so much better. That just does not make sense to me. If you do it for this back numbers, why did you not do it for the arm numbers? That just, I don't know, guys. That just does not make any sense to me. But also, another thing. Once again, even though this jersey is a huge upgrade in my personal opinion, it still has such a different design compared to their away jersey. It's got a traditional striping pattern on the arms and the waist and a shoulder yoke, while this jersey has striping on the arms and a chest stripe that goes halfway around the jersey. I mean, I don't know what it is with Minnesota, but they never seem to be able to grasp the concept of consistent jerseys. And the other thing as well, and I know it's a matter of opinion, but for me, I think the Minnesota Wild's green jersey should be green and white, because this jersey is so heavy on green, dark green, beige, and red, while this one is big on white, dark green, and red with no beige in sight. I mean, I almost wonder if the Wild would have been better off going with a vintage white away jersey. Like, personally, I would have loved to have seen it, and I know why they never did, because of the color clash with Nashville. That's understandable. But for a few games a year, I don't know. Like, if they had a third jersey, I mean, why couldn't they have just worn their home jersey against Nashville and gone color versus color? I mean, who would not love to see this new home jersey against Nashville's golden home jersey? I mean, that would be awesome, but I don't know, guys. For me, I think that the Wild should just stick with forest green and white with a bit of red as an accent color. Like, the away jersey has a nice balance, such a nice balance of green and red and white, while this one has green, beige, and red. And the designs, once again, don't match for the most part, except for the arms, even though I would argue they don't really match as good as I think they should. But at the same time, I do like the red on the arms, though, so I'm a little bit torn there. But anyways, I don't know. So hang on. I'll show you a couple more photos of the Minnesota Wild's new home jersey real quick. But let's see. Here, I've got one more. So there's the new shoulder patch. Definitely a nice shoulder patch in my opinion. I like it better than just their main crest on the shoulders inside a roundel. But the numbers as well without the red trim, I just can't get behind that. I don't know. That just kind of, this jersey almost, and I'm sorry to say this to anybody who really likes it, but this jersey almost has a bit of a half-finished look to it for me, and I'm not a big fan of that. I mean, I can't say it enough. This is way better than what they've been wearing for their home and third jerseys in recent years, but I still think it could have been better. And in all honesty, you guys, I actually would have preferred if Minnesota would have made their Stadium Series jersey their new home jersey instead of this, because it had a shoulder yoke like their away jersey, and I liked the striping of it, and I thought it was actually a really nicely done jersey. It just needed to take the arm striping, space it out a bit, and then take that striping and put it around the waist as well. At least in my personal opinion. But anyways, though, I mean, compared to the red and dark green jerseys the Minnesota Wild have had for home and third jerseys for the past 8 to 10 years, I mean, this, in my opinion, is most certainly an upgrade, but I still think it could have been a lot better, at least in my honest opinion. But anyways, you guys, that's it for my first video in over 2 months, and once again, I can't apologize enough for how long it has been. I'm really sorry about that. But I am very, very happy to tell you now that this is the end of my first video in over 2 months. And hopefully the rest of this series will be, hopefully the next video will be up much, much sooner than 2 months between my last video and this one. Which, to be honest with you, I know it will be, because I will make damn sure of it. Now, anyways, you guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and until my next video, as always, you guys, take care, and of course, as always, bye for now.